economic and social development I have seen, Tanzania is the closest example to my understanding of the way that Indian people want to develop. Tanzania is such a good example of the difference between the third and fourth world because neither of the people nor the leaders have been content to produce a new society that is merely a darker imitation of the world of their colonial masters. When the Dene Declaration was made public in 1975, the predominant response was hostile. As I discuss in my book, then Minister of Indian Affairs Judge Buchanan dismissed it as gobbledygook that any grade 10 student could have written in 15 minutes. Even respected at the time Cree leader Harold Cardinal condemned the declaration as an intrusion of left-wing thinking that is perhaps much closer to the academic community in Toronto than it is to the Dene. Much of this criticism leveled at our people during this period expressed a similar sentiment, namely that the Dene leadership had been manipulated by Southern white radicals and were therefore not acting in the interests of our own people. This assumption extended to the writing of the Declaration itself, which at the time was believed by most non-natives to be drafted by one of the Dene Nation's non-native consultants, in this case Peter Puxley, based on his adaptation of Tanzania's Arusha Declaration of 1969. The thrust of the argument here again being that the cross-fertilization, or these cross-fertilizations, could not have been grounded on Dene values and interests, but had to come from the ideological influence of settler society. Now, nothing could be further from the truth. As demonstrated in an April 14, 1975 letter between a representative of the Ganawage, or at the time Ganawage sub-office of the Indians of Quebec Association, and then vice president of the Dene Nation, detailed plans were in the works to send Dene field workers, which at the time were essentially community-based activist researchers, to Tanzania to, quote, learn from their experience and development for a period of 2 to 3 months. The letter was included as part of an information package compiled in 1977 by the NWT Legislative Assembly to generate public concern over the radical nature of the Dene self-determination movement. Also included in the package was a list of reading materials that then Dene Nation Community Development Program Director George Erasmus suggested might be useful as constructing a, quote, development philosophy for the Dene Nation. The list of readings included, among others, Frantz Fanon's Wretched of the Earth, Paulo Freire's Pedagogy of the Oppressed, Albert Memry's The Colonizer and the Colonized, Regis Debray's Revolution in the Revolution, and also included in the materials were books on Tanzania specifically, including Nyere's collections of speeches Freedom and Socialism, Freedom and Unity, Nyeri on Socialism, and Jama Essays on Socialism. According to Erasmus, these, quote, alternatives sources on development were meant to supplement, not replace, research and perspectives drawn from the communities that they were doing with their field workers. Many alternatives must be looked at, wrote Erasmus in a memo addressed to the Dene field workers, especially the examples of our culture, the approach to development and the distribution of material and ownership that our forefathers took. We may wish to keep these aspects of the old way in this industrial era, end quote. Now the point of all this is that the resurgent politics that I think we need to explore is necessarily an international one. It's an international movement of decolonization that is grounded in the normativities of culture and place, but is not straitjacketed by them. Unfortunately, however, it is this radically expansive politics of this grounded normativity that the relatively recent politics of recognition and reconciliation is slowly working to undermine, and we must collectively be vigilant in our efforts to fight its logic of containment. The land that we're gathered on today holds the relationships that inform the Anishinaabe nationhood and provides them with the political processes to engage with the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and the Wendat Nation on the north shores of Lake Ontario. It provides them with the practices and knowledge that allows them to critically interrogate capitalism, heteropatriarchy, and white supremacy. It provides them with a material culture to rebuild their political orders and conceptualization of nationhood without replicating the heteropatriarchy or anti-blackness normalized in our settler colonial reality. When we disappear Indigenous presence from our intellectual endeavors, our movement building, and our scholarship, we not only align ourselves with the wrong side of history, we necessarily negate any form of solidarity and become actors in the maintenance of settler colonialism. Given the clear stakes at play, I would like to thank the organizers of HM 2016 for continually challenging the violence of this erasure in their scholarship and constructing the content of their conversations and forums for debate. Merci, Joe.